Hello, fellow gamers. We are so excited to have you back for another episode of the Video Gamers Podcast. We are three dads who love gaming, and today we are breaking down recent gaming news from the last week. I am your host, Paul. Joining me, he has dusted off his katanas. He's been out there fighting a golden hippo, who, by the way, really needs to see a dentist. It's Josh.
I am the resident reigning Elden Lord.
Hippo murderer.
Dude, that hippo murdered me.
Dude, hippos are gnarly. They kill like everybody in the world.
This hippo was the gnarliest
and golden.
And yeah, it's really weird because he only had a little bit of gold. I don't want to spoil the fight for people that may not have done it, but then it's like, oh, that's why they called him the golden hippo.
Well, we'll have some fun Elden Ring talk in a minute here. And then joining Josh and me, we all know he's not playing Shadow of the Erdtree. Instead, he's busy in Toontown Rewritten. It's Ryan.
Yep, I am the resident Toontown toonologist. Equally as hard of a game, for sure.
Just as hard as Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Can you throw pies at people in Elden Ring? I don't think so.
You can throw dung at people in some of the Dark Souls. I know that.
Oh, that's way better. Dang it.
That is a better gag than anything I've seen in Toontown so far. All right, guys, we have a lot to cover, but as a reminder to our listeners out there, please make sure to rate our show 5 stars. Give us a bit of love on Patreon. You can support our show starting at $5 a month. You'll get perks like bonus episodes, exclusive channels in our Discord, shout out on the show, so much cool stuff. We are very thankful to all our patrons out there. You guys are the reason we get to do the show. Go check it out at multiplayersquad.com. All right. Shadow of the Erdtree is here. Ooh, Josh is excited.
Baby.
He has not been on Discord hardly at all. Our Discord has been a lot more quiet. I think everyone's been playing it lately. On Metacritic, the game is a 95 on console, 92 on PC. Gamers have actually been a little bit more mixed on it. On Steam, surprisingly, it's got a 67%. Ryan and I, unfortunately, are the Debbie Downers. We don't really like Souls games too much, but Josh, we know you are hyped to pick it up. Why don't you give us like 1 or 2 minutes about what Shadow of the Erdtree's been like?
Oh, man. Let me tell you that when it comes to DLCs, this is as good as it possibly gets, man. I mean, the DLC was $40. That's not cheap, but it is quite possibly the best DLC that I have ever played. Now, there was an article where the CD Projekt Red with The Witcher, I think it was Heart of Stone or Blood and Wine, I can't remember which one, congratulated Elden Ring and said, hey, you're like the highest rated DLC ever. Congratulations. There's a reason for that, man. This is absolutely incredible. And it's funny because I have not, like, Ryan checked on me yesterday. He's like, Josh, you okay, man? You've been like real quiet lately. And I mean, I could go on and on and on about how good Shadow of the Erdtree has been. I actually went back to the base game earlier today because I got a new weapon. So, dude, like, the first area I went to was this giant castle, like, town thing called Bellarat, which is really... So then I'm fighting this crazy lady named Rolana, who is basically like Melania from the first... Then I found this place called, like, the Cerulean Coast, and it's just filled with all these beautiful blue glowing flowers and the oceans in the background, and it's like if you... So then it's a freaking golden hippopotamus, man! I walk through this doorway, I'm like, oh, I know a boss arena when I see one, and then all of a sudden the little boss name pops up, Golden Hippo. I'm like, what the heck's a hippopotamus gonna do to me, man? Dude, I can't even begin to describe what that hippo did to me in a family-friendly podcast. Let's just say it was not pretty.
That's more than enough. We're just gonna play the music, get him off the stage.
Play him off stage.
Yeah, play him off stage. That's enough.
So, Josh, let me ask you, because I've read a lot of the negative comments on Steam about Shadow of the Erdtree. Some of it seems to be performance-based, and then, of course, kind of famously at this point, Eurogamer gave the game a pretty ho-hum 3 out of 5. And they kind of said that they didn't like the fact that you don't just go out there and figure stuff out anymore. The game's much more linear. They explicitly tell you things to try and not try in the game. Do you feel like the game's missing something from the base by adding all that, or do you feel like Eurogamer is just kind of off on this?
I 100% think Eurogamer is off on this. I've been reading some of the reviews. I will say the performance is not great. I have almost a supercomputer. I had to turn down ray tracing to like medium, and I'm still barely pushing 60 frames a second. Like I dip into the 50s and even the high 40s sometimes. So it is a little tough to go, shouldn't this be optimized by now? You know, and so the performance is not great. You do get a hitching here and there kind of thing. This game is just graphically jammed packed, like more so than some of like the base game Elden Ring in certain areas. So it's like, I kind of get it because they've really gone over the top with a lot of the visuals and stuff. And that's just harder to process at that point too. The main complaint, it honestly, is the difficulty level. But I think how they handled this is masterful, to be honest, right? Because like, think about all these people who have been playing Elden Ring for thousands of hours. They're absolutely just godlike characters. And then you release a DLC. Like, what are you going to do? These people are just going to tear through this, and then they're going to be like, well, this is all too easy. And it was all the same content. So like, this sucks. So they came up with this system that basically kind of fixes that. And it puts you back at like this base level until you start accumulating these Erdtree fragments. And whenever you get those, it kind of raises your level in Shadow of the Erdtree solely. So it doesn't carry over if you go back to the base game like I did. But when you first start out, you are getting your hiney just beat down, man. You know what I mean? Because it's like you don't have any of these fragments, but every time you get one of the fragments, you can take a little bit more damage. You do a little bit more damage. And I think what's happening is people are starting off. There's a boss that they put right in the very beginning that you come across who was just one-shotting me. I mean, over and over again. I tried him probably 15 times, and then I just went, I'm not supposed to fight this guy yet. But I think what happens is a lot of people are stubborn and they go, hey, let me just keep fighting this guy and getting their butts whooped over and over. I got 3 Erdtree fragments. I went back and I beat the guy in about 4 attempts after that. So I think it's a really neat thing that they did. Maybe they didn't explain it very well, but a lot of the negative reviews are just the difficulty level. It is hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I have fought many bosses that just one-shot me. I don't even get a hit in before they kill me kind of thing. That can be frustrating, but if you're an Elden Ring player, you kind of know what you're getting into at that point too. And it does get easier. You just got to play the game.
It was funny to see. It has been quiet in the Discord, but 90% of the talk that is there is everyone just talking, oh, I'm at this boss. Oh, I'm at that boss. I've never seen so many spoiler like censors on the text too in our Discord.
Yeah.
It's been funny to watch, to see everybody, you know, talking about different guys and giving hints to each other. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, we know how much you guys are loving more Elden Ring content. Very happy for you guys. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. So we got a Nintendo Direct. Now, kind of famously, Josh, for the most part, you're out on the Switch. Ryan, I don't think you dislike it quite as much as Josh. You're probably kind of in between me and Josh because I'm a pretty big Nintendo fan. There was a lot here that got announced, a lot of trailers we got to see. Almost all of this stuff is coming out less than 6 months from now, which I think is very exciting. I think what most people were talking about the most after the fact was The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So let's kind of start there. First of all, for once, our parents will be right when they're asking, are you playing as Zelda? We will be able to say yes, because now you actually are playing Zelda. I loved in the YouTube comments, someone said they really should call it The Legend of Link, Echoes of Wisdom.
That would have been so
and it
good.
would have been very funny to play as Zelda. Yeah. So, coming into this trailer, right off the bat, you see the animation style. It's very much made in the way of the remake of Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
And immediately I was like, nope, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this game.
Yeah. Okay.
I was
glad I'm
so
not the
ready.
only one.
I was so ready to come in and trash this game. And then they start hitting you all this stuff with the tri-rod. And I don't know, maybe one of you guys can kind of explain more here, but I was like, dude, the Zelda people, they still got it, man. Every entry they come out with something creative and fun and exciting. I love how you can just dupe items with the tri-rod.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, you meet this, your little fairy or whatever is what is the Tri or
Try?
Maybe a Tri-Fairy, something like that.
Tri-Fairy or something like that. But yeah, you get the rod and you can basically duplicate all these items. So, there's like, tables. You're out in a land and you have to get up to this ledge and you can duplicate a table to jump up and jump again, create your own kind of pathway up, which is cool. Cause at first I was thinking, man, how are you going to do this after going from Ultra Hand? And now I'm playing a Zelda game. I don't have Ultra Hand. I can't do all the amazing things that made that last game so awesome. But then they do it again. They come up with something crazy off the wall. I want to take what they're taking to come up with all these crazy ideas. That's all I know.
Dude, the way you can even dupe like water boxes, because it's like the whole game is like a grid, right? So if you mouse over any box, you can, save it and now duplicate it in the world. So you even see one instance where he has to like climb up, or I guess she, being Zelda, has to get up on a high ledge, and they just start placing water boxes and then they just swim straight up. Like that kind of stuff to me is so cool. I think we're going to see a lot of very funny, creative stuff on TikTok. Same way when Tears of the Kingdom came out, my TikTok was nothing but that game for like 3 months. And I had so much fun watching just how the gaming community used all this. I think we're going to see that again.
It's funny because I'm with you, Paul. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I have zero interest in this. And then they started talking about the echoes, is I think what they call them, where you can just duplicate any item you come across. And that's when I went like, wait a minute, this is like Ultra Hand in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, this is insanely creative. And then they show you like using beds to make a bridge. And then, like you said, the water block to go up a level. And at one point you're cloning spiders so that they spin webs so that you can jump from one spider to the other as they start to dangle down. And that's where it really just started kind of blowing my mind. And I was like, okay, this game actually looks really cool. Like, I love the fact that they're leaning into this like creativity part. It reminds me of Minecraft in a way where I feel like Nintendo went, why do people love Minecraft? Like, what's the secret sauce there? And then they kind of figured it out and said, just give people the ability to do whatever the heck they want and then put it inside the framework of a game and it'll turn out great. And I feel like that's what they did with this.
Dude, they almost went like Necromancer style where you can even start to create echoes of enemies, but they fight on your side. And I was like, oh man, I don't think this is going to be a game that's like terribly hard. I mean, all the Zelda games are relatively easy. But I think for like casual sandbox type gamers, I think there's going to be a lot of fun to be had. And it releases on September 26th. It's only 3 months out. Nintendo always has like these perfect timelines where we get hyped and the game's right around the corner. There's never time to like get off the hype train, which I love.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
Ooh.
Now, I wish I had more to say. I've shared this on the pod before. I've never played a Metroid game. So like, as much as I loved my GameCube, like I remember staring at Metroid Prime 1 and 2 like 100 times at GameStop and just never bought it. I don't know if you guys are big fans or not, but I think it looks fantastic. Like, what'd you guys think?
Metroid for me is one of my favorite series on Nintendo, to be honest. Like, it ranks up there with like the old Mega Man games and stuff like that.
Ooh,
but yeah,
nice.
I mean, Metroid is really, really good. Recently I played Metroid Dread, which I thought was fantastic and very well done. So for somebody like me, I mean, let's be honest, there's probably something like 18 different Metroid games at this point, because they were making offshoots and kind of remakes and other, I've played like the main games in the series. But this is the one that I was probably the most hyped for, just from I think I would enjoy the gameplay portion of it. Really good looking game for the Nintendo Switch. There was a lot of people that said, oh, this was definitely recorded on the Switch 2. Like, that's why it looks this good.
It might be a launch title for the Switch 2, I'm thinking.
Yeah, there was a lot of conjecture about stuff like that. I think it looks great, man. It's a first person kind of shooter. Metroid has always been kind of about, exploring the world, and, it's a Metroidvania, right? I mean, thus the term Metroidvania. And so I really enjoy it, man. I like that progression system. I like the exploring this world. I like the combat, which seemed it was Metroid 4 or Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? Metroid 4 Prime Beyond. Yeah, one of those two. It looks like it is, action heavy in that regard, which, resonates with me as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man.
Yeah, the extent of my Metroid interaction is Smash Bros. That was my go-to. Yeah.
That's how I knew Samus. It's like, oh yeah, the person in Smash Bros.
Neither one of you has played a Metroid game?
No, well, let me ask you this, Mr. Metroid Man. How does she roll up into that little ball?
She's very flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
I figured.
I don't know what I'll be honest. I don't know what the technology is for that because it's like she's got the suit and the cannon, the arm cannon, and all that, and then all of a sudden she turns into this teeny little ball, and it's like, how does that technology work?
I was like, I know that's a lady in there, but how does that work?
Yeah. But what's cool about the ball thing is, since you guys have never played it, you get, when you're in ball form, you get different abilities in ball form to where it's like you can ball up, but then you can drop these mines, and then you can use the mines to like jump different places and stuff like that, or attack enemies. Like, it's really, there's a lot more in the Metroid games than what you see on the surface of like a trailer for the game. Like, that's honestly what resonates with a lot of people is you find this new ability, you unlock this ability, you know, now you can double jump. So, you know, you can get up to that ledge up there. I mean, it used to be that they were Metroidvania type games, and then they kind of made them a little bit more action focused. And then they kind of went and said, let's combine the two so that we've got this really cool action combined with a Metroidvania, and you unlock these abilities and skills and parts of the map and stuff like that. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember the really old school Metroid, even though I didn't play them. I remember them being, you know, the 2D side scrollers, you know, playing like Metroidvanias. And then I think Prime was when they shifted to that first person. But yeah, I mean, I know especially that Metroid Prime 1 was just so beloved by critics, and somehow I just never got around to it. All right, let's go ahead and take a short break, and we'll come right back. All right, guys, continuing the Nintendo Direct here. You guys have any thoughts on Super Mario Party Jamboree?
It's just another Super Mario Party.
Mario Party.
I'm not down. I'm not.
There's
just
110 games this time, Josh.
I know, dude. I love Mario Party. Like, invite me over, Paul. We'll play Mario Party with a bunch of people. I'm in. Like, it's always a good time.
For one weekend?
For one, but that's literally the thing is it's like, they're fun games, but if you have played one Mario Party, you have played all of the Mario Parties, man, at that point. Like, it's cool they're coming out with a new one. There was a couple things like, okay, this looks neat. The Koopathon thing where it's like massive multiplayer stuff reminds me of Fall Guys.
A lot like Fall Guys. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. And so like at that part I went, okay, that's kind of cool. But it's just Mario Party, man. If you own one Mario Party, like, why pay? You're just paying for new mini games at this point. That's literally all you're paying for is like, I just want new games to play in Mario Party.
Yeah. It's almost like the sports games. You know, it's basically you have one from a few years ago. It's pretty much the same. But yeah, I mean, some of the new games looked cool. I did think it was weird. They had one of the maps where you get some sort of bonus and move like 40 spaces or something crazy if you get this unique item or something. But other than that, I mean, some of the new games look cool, but it's been a while since, what was it, Mario Party, what was the last one? It was
8?
I'm not even sure. There's been a lot of them.
I think it's 8, yeah, and it's been out for a while, so yeah, I'll probably end up getting it.
It's funny because I say that too, but then I think we've literally bought every Mario Party.
Exactly.
We play it, like Paul said, for a weekend, maybe a week, and then we sell it, and then we're like, okay, well, that was fun.
Yep.
And you know Nintendo loves it because no game will break down your Joy-Cons faster than these mini games over and over in Mario Party. All right, well, that one is set to release on October 17th, not too far out. I will say the one thing that did grab me was the, whatever they called it, Koopathlon, whatever. That was neat with pulling in 20 people. And you did see, like, for example, where everyone's running from the top of the screen to the bottom while getting chased by a giant Koopa, and there's, like, fire and the ground is falling out. That I would have a lot more interest in. The rest, I'm a little bit more ho-hum, because it is a little bit like there's, like, 4 to 5 different types of mini games, and then they're all just kind of repeated. All right. The other one I would say I was really excited about was Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Brothership.
Now,
we're brothers.
This is the 6th game in the RPG series. It's the first entry since Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is now almost 10 years old. The game's got like a very unique cell shade graphic style that I really like. This is the first one to be fully 3D. We do see like some platforming elements. There's mini games within it. All these combo moves with Mario and Luigi with turn-based combat and stuff. I thought this one looked like a total blast. What did you guys think?
I think it looks pretty cool. Poor Luigi, man. He's always getting the shaft. They always just make him look like a doofus. He like gets his head stuck in the sand and stuff. I think this one, I'm not that big on the Switch, Paul, like you said. I mean, I enjoy it. I definitely don't hate it. But I'm finding myself being drawn more to these types of games and games I can play with the kids and stuff like that. So I thought it looked neat. A lot of the features were cool, and then getting to play, both the characters, Mario and Luigi. So yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. I personally, though, I'm pretty amped about Donkey Kong.
Oh, are you?
I don't know about you guys. That was a little nostalgia kickback for me, running through the train tracks.
Nostalgia.
And the bananas and jumping in the barrels. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always felt like the music was a lot more fun than the gameplay with Donkey Kong Country, but I know I'm kind of in the minority there.
You would.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about Brothership as well. It reminded me of some of the better parts of It Takes Two with the co-op nature and having to rely on your teammate. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I mean, anytime you have couch co-op stuff, I think it's incredible. I liked a lot of what they showed off. I like the fact that there was turn-based combat, kind of a la Paper Mario, with some of the same UI elements and stuff like that. But then the ability to work together to create like these super moves and stuff like that. My wife doesn't like playing video games with me because I want to just kind of play the game and all right, let's do this challenge. And she likes kind of taking her time and exploring and making sure there's no hidden mushrooms somewhere and stuff like that.
I want to win. Come on, honey, I want to win.
Yeah, I know. And so it's like, I'm curious if I can convince her to play this one with me because I think it'd be a lot of fun. Like, this looks like a blast for two people.
It's a one-player game, right?
What? How do you have a game called Brothership and it's one person?
Yeah, it's like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. That was one player. It's going to play more like that.
Okay, where in this trailer did they say this was a one-player game?
They didn't say, but in the series, it's a one-player series.
Wait a minute. This is blowing my mind. Okay.
Yeah, it's a one-player, dude.
Okay. You have a game called Mario and Luigi Brothership. In your trailer, you showed nothing but combo moves between two characters.
Yeah.
One character going to one end of a seesaw, the other one running to the other end, jumping and grabbing each other from these little handlebars in cliffs and stuff like that. These combo moves. And you're telling me there's no two-player option in this game?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
This is the stupidest game I have ever seen in my life. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you see all the button presses and all the prompts, and yeah, you're controlling Mario and Luigi, just single player. Sorry to tell you.
So your wife doesn't have to deal with you now.
Okay, well, guess what, guys? My wife is going to be thrilled to learn about this game that she doesn't have to play with me now. Okay,
yeah.
Does that not seem weird to you guys?
No,
it does. You know what? Forget Nintendo. I'm selling my Switch. I'm out.
Outrage with me, Ryan, so I don't feel so stupid right now.
I'm so angry.
There we go. Dumb guys unite.
Switch 2 sucks. Don't buy it. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, I legitimately, I did not know that. And that changes my whole opinion of this game, man.
Hashtag switch to no Switch.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say Josh wouldn't know because he's not out there playing all these Switch games, and Nintendo games on past consoles. Yeah, Josh is a PC gamer at heart. We all know it. All right, so let's move off of Nintendo Direct. We did get a Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 gameplay overview trailer. So I think at this point, pretty much everyone knows about the game. It's a third-person action shooter. Man, does this game look great graphically. This trailer looks absolutely incredible. They covered a whole lot of stuff. There's basically like 3 main modes to the game that they highlighted. You get to go through the campaign story mode, either solo or in squads of 3. They've got another mode. I don't remember what they call it, but it has operations mode. That's what it is, where you get to replay missions over and over with replayability. Kind of reminded me more of like Vermintide, Left 4 Dead. It's probably going to play more like that. And then Eternal War, which is the PvP mode. There's a lot we could talk about and cover. I don't know even where to start. What struck your fancy?
I know where. Swarm technology.
Yeah.
Was that not the coolest thing when you're like in the gameplay, you're up above and you just see thousands of these different enemies just swarming in
everywhere.
Unreal. Like it looked so cool. That alone got me so hyped up. What is it? Like the chainsaw sword?
Yes.
Yep.
Friggin' so cool. Awesome. There was just like, you got a jetpack, so they're flying around, and then they have multiplayer online, so it's like 6v6. All of it kind of gave me like kind of the clunky moving around like Gears, but you're a lot more mobile with going aerial and stuff. So I don't know. I'm super hyped. I've watched that probably 2 or 3 times, that gameplay video. So I'm beyond stoked.
Space Marine's one of those games that when I first saw a trailer for, I went, oh, this looks good. Every time I see something about it, it just gets better and better and better for me. This last, kind of gameplay showcase that they did really took my hype to the next level. I mean, like Ryan said, the swarm technology is super cool. What I really liked seeing was the fact that you can get all these different weapons, and then you have skills that you can unlock and use and stuff like that too. So that when things are really getting hairy, it's like, hang on guys, hang on. I'll use my, whatever my skill ability is. And then it'll just wipe out a bunch of those. To me, that tells me that there's progression in the game. It's not just shooting hordes and hordes and hordes of these Tyranid things. The PvP portion, I think, looks like a lot of fun. The mission structure, so they have the main campaign, but then they have these like missions that you can kind of replay that I'm assuming are just parts of the main campaign. But at that point, they even showed that like you select something like 6 or 8 different classes of character to play.
And different loadouts.
And then different loadouts and stuff. And they were saying, hey, teamwork is going to be much more important in these missions than it is in like just if you're playing the campaign. So you really need to kind of plan your loadouts and your builds and your characters accordingly. And I love any time that you have to rely on teamwork, to get through something. Like, I want to know that Paul is going to take care of what Paul's supposed to. Ryan's going to take care of his end of things, and I'll take care of my end of things too. And we have to have different builds to do that. So I'm really excited for this. I mean, like I said, every time I see something, it just gets better and better. And what a freaking beautiful looking game too, man. Like, I can't help but think like we're in the future, man.
It really does look incredible. The one thing I'm most worried about are just fighting those hordes of enemies. It's a little reminiscent of like Dynasty Warriors, which we've all kind of said isn't totally our jam. Yeah. So I'm slightly concerned about that. But I will say they add a lot of flourish that I really love. So I like the fact that as you're, playing this guy Titus, that you can do finisher moves that replenish your armor. Oh, yeah. And I love when games keep you in the action. And they add this like extra flourish with the camera where when you do that finisher move, because normally you're playing in third person where you're just, somewhat zoomed out, same as you would see like in any third person. But when you do the finisher, the camera immediately zooms in and moves to the right. And then you get to see like a super gory finisher move on one of these enemies. And every time they did that, I just thought it looked so cool. I love that kind of style. It seems like they knew what they wanted to make, and it seems like they accomplished it. And that's like high praise. I mean, that's like the best thing you can say about a trailer, right?
Guys, plus for sure. 3-player co-op for the campaign, the missions, PvP. This is like everything that we've been waiting for since like Helldivers, to be honest, for like a multiplayer game. I mean, we've got some amazing single player games coming up that I know we're all excited for, but like, I think this is the next multiplayer game that I'm really pinning my hopes on.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And Paul, you're going to work on getting Henry Cavill on with us?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. He's already booked. He's
big Warhammer guy. So, all right, sweet.
Yeah. We wish.
I'd fangirl so hard. Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. And then last thing of the week, the First Descendant. Yeah. So this is a game that has
saying yes to all these. Like, yeah.
Definitely been growing more and more in our anticipation the more we see. It is a free-to-play third-person co-op action RPG shooter. Those are all of our favorite words, just for the record. It releases in less than a week, July 2nd. It has had a lot of videos. I do think it's kind of flown under the radar quite a bit. I did not realize that this is underneath a parent company called Nexon that I didn't really know anything about. They're a huge company in Asia, and they just started releasing games in the West. These are the same guys who are making Arc Raiders, which, of course, really? Josh, is like one of your most anticipated games.
Yeah, dude. They're making Arc Raiders?
I don't think it's the exact same dev team, but they're the same parent company.
Okay.
Yeah, like, EA or whatever. They're also the same parent company over the Finals, So these might be your new people, Josh.
Dude, they might be my new people because they know how to make a fun game. Arc Raiders obviously is not out. We've had hype for that, but it's been radio silence for a long time on that game. We found out about this at was it the game showcase, Summer Games Fest, one of those showcases. There's been so many of them, and I remember seeing the trailer for this, and I was like, whoa, like. Co-op looter shooter, like with this kind of style, this looks incredible. So I have been watching a lot of videos on this. Come to find out that this game has been in beta for like a year or two now. So, there's a lot of information if you're curious about the game, but it is going to fully release on July 2nd, if I remember the date right, which is, 1 week away.
It looks really polished from what I've seen.
It looks insanely polished. I absolutely love co-op looter shooters. I mean, we have gushed over like Outriders. I have gushed over Remnant 2. I mean, Borderlands 2 is, the same kind of genre of game. This has everything that my brain loves: progression, strategic elements, chaotic gameplay, shooters, abilities on cooldowns and stuff like that. I mean, this is like, I feel like this is custom built for me. I know I'm more hyped than you two, but I feel like this is the kind of game that when the three of us hop into this, like Paul's going to get enamored of it right away, kind of like he did with Outriders. Ryan hasn't played a game like this in a while. I feel like this would absolutely be up your alley, Ryan. My only concern with this game is it is free to play. There are going to be a lot of microtransactions. Personally, I'm fine with that because we've always said, if you're giving us a free to play game, I don't mind giving you money if you're giving me enjoyment out of it. I don't care about cosmetics, but I'll pay you money to unlock this character that I really want to play. All of the negative things I've seen about this game have been because of the gotcha elements, because of the microtransactions, right? And it just the stuff that comes naturally with a free-to-play game. Every single video that I have watched has said the gameplay, the shooting, the characters, the abilities are all absolutely top-notch. And that's really all I care about. I don't care about cosmetics and stuff like that. But I haven't seen one person be like, nah, man, the gameplay kind of boring. It kind of sucks. Like, everybody's like, gameplay, gunplay, characters, abilities, progression, all this stuff is amazing. So it's like, okay.
Well, yeah, like when do you hear from somebody, man, these microtransactions are so sweet, but the gameplay sucks.
Right. Yeah. And so like, to me, that's what I care about. I care about the gameplay. It looks fantastic. You can unlock these characters. You can level up these characters. So again, what I always say, I love the ability when I'm playing a game, if I start getting bored with one character, you know what, let me try out this character now. Let's start leveling him up, see what his abilities are like. Ryan, you just jump back into Diablo 4.
I did.
Are you playing a new class?
Yes, I am.
And it kind of makes the game feel fresh again, right?
Oh, my brain's still spinning. Like, I'm still, like, all the characters and everything. Yeah, definitely.
Like a barbarian whirlwind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I like, because that just kind of keeps you invested. It keeps the enjoyment going. If the base gameplay is a lot of fun, then these are just the things that help you kind of want to keep logging in and want to keep playing. And I feel like it has all that. It could be a massive disappointment, but I'm really, really excited about this game right now.
Hey, well, the best thing is, if it is a disappointment, it was free.
Exactly.
You can't hate on that. But I did, as far as gameplay goes, I thought, like you said, being able to switch to different characters, I thought they were unique enough within themselves to make it feel fresh every time you switch. And their abilities were cool. Like the main Lepic guy or whatever that you start out with, kind of like your standard character that's kind of well-rounded, but he's got this bionic arm, and you can shoot these like gravity grenades that like suck enemies together, and then you can shoot regular grenades into them and run around and shoot. It's just a lot of the features, like, it's definitely up my alley. I love looter shooters. They're one of my favorites. So this thing is, I'm going to be honest, I totally forgot about this, and I had no clue until we refreshed, watching the gameplay and stuff. I'm like, oh crap, this does come out in like a week.
Yeah, and it looks good, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the abilities that are going to make this game stand out, because, the shooting looks fine and great. The combat looks great. But kind of like where I always said Outriders had such a novel take on combat, this game's got stuff like, for example, There's a class, you know, this is going to be the one I'm going to play because it's a chef. All right. But everything is like revolves around fire. And so you set what they call stoves on the ground where you erupt into a giant sphere of fire. And then you get like a chef star ultimate, but then you can also like turn your stoves off and you suck up all the fire and it gives you a boost to like your guns. All that stuff sounds very clever. And a lot of these abilities have amazing names, like Freyna is a character that relies on all these poison debuffs. One of her abilities is called Venom Baptism.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool name for an ability. Yeah, I love seeing
so
stuff
Paul, you like
that.
Blair, because I recently watched like
Blair.
the character breakdown video on that. Blair looked really cool to me with like the fire.
I thought it looked fun.
Yeah, you have like Viessa, which controls ice. And the crazy thing is, for people that like this kind of stuff, all of these skills play off of each other. So there's like it's an easy to just get in there and mash buttons and have fun. But there's a very like difficult to master like gameplay element to how you combo your different abilities and skills and stuff like that I think is going to come into play in the end game stuff when you're actually doing like raid type bosses and stuff like that as well, where it's like you have to know your character, you have to be good at this and efficient in your use of skills and stuff like that. There's a lot of characters that I thought looked really interesting. I'm actually leaning towards Ajax, which is the tank dude that has like the shields and the leap in and stuff like that. It's like, normally I want to play like the really quick, like stealthy rogue character, which there actually is like the character that can go stealth and stuff. But
she's called Sharon.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, can one of you please be Sharon so I can be Ozzy Osbourne and just yell, Sharon! Sharon!
So, and just being the co-op nature, having a tank in the group, I think would be like super handy. But I just love being in the thick of stuff too. And this guy is like just in the meat of the combat, you know, just at all times, which I think is kind of up my alley as well.
Well, and how cool is it to have a character like Bunny, where the more you run from all the friction, you gather more and more electricity, and then you can unleash it on the enemies. It's so creative. I love seeing that kind of stuff. You know what? We're going to sound so stupid pumping everything up about this game because you know what's going to happen. It's going to be exactly like Lost Ark. We're all going to play the first 20 hours. We're going to say this game's amazing, and we're going to hit a point where if you don't buy stuff, you just can't continue in the game. And then we're going to rage against it. Yeah. And it's going to be one of those experiences where it's a 10 out of 10, and then we're going to turn on it hard.
It's fine.
That's my prediction.
I'm going to get that fun 20 hours out of it, man.
You just got to know when to cut bait.
Yeah, I'm in. I know what I'm getting myself into, man.
Make me hurt,
you know?
baby.
Yeah, going to hit that paintball. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to hurt though. It's going to be sad.
Hey, I want to say though, they definitely, Raiden is shaking right now in his grave. If, because they stole his suit from Rising. Metal Gear, this is
for sure.
Kojima's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week in gaming. Make sure to go check out Patreon support options at multiplayersquad.com. We would love it if you'd leave us a 5-star review or a 5-star rating and a written review. Also, come join the free Discord. We'd love you to come say hi. Hit us up on socials at Video Gamers Pod, and make sure to check out our next episode on Monday. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening. Until next time, happy gaming.
Sharon!
All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.